Welcome back to computer science. What did we learn about yesterday? I think we only had one more note, which was passing a workaround for when you want to create a new mutable object as a default value, default parameter value. For the default parameter value, you say something like none equals none, and then within the function itself, you say if none, then you create that new mutable object, because that's equal to that parameter value name too. So that would have been the end of function. That would have been the end of the unit on default parameter values and keyword arguments. That is all we had for notes, so I'm going to jump back in, continue learning, and then we'll be back to recall what I learned in a little bit. All right, I just finished up 2 of the units to finish up this lecture. The first unit was on returning multiple outputs, multiple outputs from functions, right? So you can only return one return statement, one object. So how do you return multiple objects? Well, you can put them all into a tuple or a list and then unpack them outside of the function. That's how you do it. That's the workaround. A little note is that you don't have to actually state the parentheses around a tuple. If you use commas, it's implied. And then the next unit was on docstrings and help function. Docstrings are basically, there's a lot I took notes on, but the main idea is that docstrings are basically statements, strings within functions that describe how the function works. Best practices for simple function, it's a single line, but if it's a complex function, you can use multiple lines, especially particularly to state what it does, of course, but then also to state what the arguments do and what the arguments are, etc. Or parameters / arguments. Docstrings are created using a triple quotes at the beginning and end. You don't put spaces before or after the docstring. If it's a multi-line, the last line of the docstring will be a triple quote, but the first line is triple quote with words, with straight indentation, like follow the same indentation. For multi-line docstring, help function is a function that allows you to basically learn more about a given thing, object. If you say help with a user-defined function, it will return the documentation about that object, so your docstring will be returned. Lots of built-in functions within Python have docstrings, so that will work. You can also pass things like, mostly functions built-in and user-defined, but also some other things such as underscore main underscore, which I think returns a lot about what's in the actual file itself. All right. Docstring used to explain the purpose / function of a function. A string literal placed in the first line, starts in the first line of a function body, starts and ends with 3 consecutive quotation marks, no blanks before or after the docstring. Simple functions, docstring should use a single line, multi-line, consistent indentation, more lines to explain arguments if there are multiple. A help function provides all documentation associated with an object, and then multiple function outputs. If you want to return multiple outputs from a function, return the outputs in a tuple or a list, and then unpack it. There we go. That's pretty much it. So that's it for potentially today. So talk to you tomorrow. See ya.